Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 704 on Tuesday, the 11th of August, 2026. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And this week you'll hear how making money from cars isn't always easy. You might be tempted with one of the latest in the surge of new cars from China. And in points of interest, you'll likely remember something now dead. And we jump immediately into follow-up. We have two pieces of follow-up this week. The first piece of follow-up is tied into last week's live stream where we did a roundup of recharging around Britain. We missed a question, and we are very, very sorry. We noticed as soon as we stopped recording. Unfortunately, we got distracted because someone asked me about ADAS, and I went off on one, and that distracted us from the question we still had.
He did.
The question is from Carlton. Thank you very much for the question. And he was asking, he's curious to know whether a long-distance touring holiday like yours is easily viable in an EV now? ? My humble opinion is yes. It's easier if you plan, though. And by planning, I mean you've got a fairly decent idea of where you want to go. You also have a backup, like an option 2, if your first choice of charger doesn't work. And on top of that, you've got a car that has pretty trustworthy sat-navs integrated with charging points, which a lot of them do these days, and which we...
You just made that sound very complicated.
Have I? Oh, sorry. I don't mean it to be.
Yeah.
If your inbuilt sat-nav is any good, then it will point you to chargers it thinks you need to use before you think you need to use them. That was one of the takeaways.
Yeah.
Have I missed anything out there, though, Alan?
Which is a good takeaway. Not a huge amount. I mean, I would be quite happy to do it. Just try and find cheaper ways to charge, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go a little bit off the road every time because you're not desperately trying to hammer on to be somewhere by dinner time 6 days in a row.
Picking hotels with chargers, or or if you've got a cottage that's got a charger and stuff like that, because an increasing number of rental properties do, for short-term rent stuff.
Places with destination charges, that kind of thing. It will make life easier. Yes, you can do it. No, it's not ridiculously expensive, but it is very much doable.
Yeah, agreed.
Again, you can do it with the same size type car that you would do it in anyway, maybe smaller if you fancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the bit about that, I think I did actually answer the follow-on, which was favourite bit of driving road and why was it the northeast of Scotland? It wasn't the northeast of Scotland because, frankly, Aberdeen to Inverness is just a miserable drive. It is very much the northwest of Scotland, which I much, much prefer.
Yes, we were unlucky timing as well.
Yes, I mean the bit between where I am sitting right now and Aberdeen, and if you come in a straight line, wonderful driving through and across the Cairngorms. That's great. We just didn't do it on the trip.
No.
Andrew, I'm going to say proper follow-up now.
Yes, more follow. Oh, by the way, in the show notes will be a link to the audio from the live stream as well as the YouTube in case you missed it last week as well. So you can click through in the links in the show notes to catch up on that. Anyway, yes, as Alan said, proper follow-up. And this is to do with Aston Martin. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how Aston Martin creditors were getting together and writing a letter to Aston Martin and saying, just be careful with this whole restructuring thing. We're going to be taking some legal advice. It's gone a few steps further because some more details, even though Aston Martin hasn't revealed the details, but there's some more details about what this debt restructuring involves. Now, it involves a company called HPS Investment Partners who are going, or who have been penciled in to provide the £550 million worth of cash that will help restructure everything. And this also includes, though, as is a key component, is that Aston Martin would have to sell 50.1% stake in its non-automotive intellectual property to the US brand developer called Authentic Brands. Now, they've been going for well over a decade, and they have some quite prestigious brands on their books. But HPS is one of their major investors. So the interleaving weaves upon interleaving weaves is quite the thing in all this.
Authentic brands, by the way, they don't actually have a great reputation from memory, in that they will tend to put the name on whatever it is. Yes, they're the one that owns Brooks Brothers. I was reading a thing about them recently.
They also bought Sport Illustrated and then shut it down and all this sort of stuff as well, yeah.
Yeah. They're owned by BlackRock, the investment company, so well known for its ethical approach to the world. Basically, they're one of those companies like DC Footwear, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, all of these other companies which aren't around the same way they used to be. They will tend to just license out the brand to appear on anywhere. So I look forward to, but I don't look forward at all, to seeing Aston Martin branded cookware and all that kind of thing. Although they are, of course, American and Trump sporting, so they are unlikely to be bringing back the leather underwear and handcuffs of the past with Aston Martin branding, but do watch out, and not in a nice way, I'm sorry. That's terribly negative of me, but there we go.
Well, just to give you an idea of what the creditors are saying, they're saying that some of them are owed $1.3 billion, and they have, this is quoting from a Reuters article, sent a letter before action saying that they would, if this deal goes through, that they would take legal steps to unwind the HPS transaction and block the disposal of certain intellectual property assets. On top of this, I have seen it also reported that some of the assets will be now registered, if this goes through, be registered in the Cayman Islands, which of course makes it so easy to, if you are owed money, to get your money back, etc., if things have gone through that route. It's really looking very ungood for Aston Martin if this is the sort of thing they're having to do to try and keep going. I cannot. This is the most worried I've been in the decade we've been going. Most worried I've been in how Aston Martin are going to continue to exist.
These are quite worrying companies that are getting involved now. On a scale and method of behaviour which is, I don't like, as you might have picked up.
Anyway, Alan, shall we move to something that is much more positive this week?
Yes, it is the first show after the new car registration figures came out. In this case, it is for July 2026. In July 2026, 156,571 new cars were registered. That's up 11.7% on July last year. There were 62,799 petrol cars registered. That's down 5.2% on the same period last year. 6,596 diesel cars. That's down 17.7%. 20,711 hybrid electric vehicles. That's up 11.6%. 43,106 battery electric vehicles. That's up 44.5%. And 23,359 plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. That's up 33.6%. That gives petrol a 40.1% market share, diesel a 4.2% market share, hybrids a 13.2% market share, battery electric vehicles 27.5% market share, and plug-in hybrids a 14.9% market share.
Yep.
BEV registrations were up, as I said, 44.5%. They're saying that it was a subdued July 2025. They're saying that demand's driven by model choice, heavy discounting, and government incentives. In total, what are the shares? Private has 37.1% market share. That's up 12.6% to 58,137 vehicles. Fleet has a 59.9% market share, up 9.5% to 93,734. Business has a 3% market share, up 61.3% to 4,700 vehicles. We've done the various splits. I guess we're going for the top models.
Yep.
Again, so many different models these days that the numbers really aren't very high for specific models. And therefore, the squish in the top 10 is very, very low and very, very close. Number 10 is the Vauxhall Corsa with 2,326 units registered. Number 9, the Mini Cooper with 2,350 units registered. Number 8, the Volkswagen Golf. And number 7, the GQ5. Number 6, the Ford Kuga with 2,533 units registered. Number 5, the MG HS. Number 4, the JQ7. Number 3, the Kia Sportage with 3,205 units registered. Number 2, the Nissan Qashqai with 3,224 units. And number 1, the Ford Puma with 3,531 units registered.
Mm-hmm. Right, I will take us on to the spreadsheet of doom, which isn't very doomy for this month. And I have to scroll all the way down to C for Chevrolet, which is down 27%. Then there is Genesis down 41%, GWM down 50%. And these are quite small numbers, by the way, those ones. Now we start to get into chunkier numbers. Hyundai is down 20%. So in 2025, they registered 7,216. This year, in July, they registered 5,791. Ineos is down 44%. Jeep is also down 44%. KGM is down 22%. Lexus is down 16%. Mazda is down 19%. Peugeot is down 19%. Again, that's quite a chunky number because in 2025 they registered 6,179. This year they registered 4,993. Polestar is down 31%, Seat down 28%, Skywell is down 100%. They didn't register any vehicles. Wonder why that is.
Well, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Subaru, see previous episodes from this show. Subaru is down 37%, Tesla is down 48%. Wow! How did Tesla only register 512 vehicles in July? Considering
because they registered 15,000 last month, I think.
In June, yes.
It was something
it's
stupid.
Almost as though the figures are, by gaming registrations, you can create certain narratives if you wish. It's almost as though that.
Yes, but it was the quarter and year end last month.
I know.
So as a result, and with everything else terrible, then the UK is one of the countries in which you can game the system and show sales, and I'm doing air quotes. I shall slap myself around the head later, and show sales or vehicles shipped or whatever it is that your metric is, that's as flattering as possible.
Yeah.
And sod the residual value because the shareholders will just pump up the money because they're all stupid.
Something like that, yes, certainly.
It's that kind of evening, isn't it?
Yes, for both of us. Just to round this out before Alan tells us all the good news, Other British was down 18% and other imports was down 45%. So come on, Alan. There's quite a bit of green on this spreadsheet.
Going from the top, of course, our usual 15% threshold each way. Somebody asked about that last week, about why there were some brands that very rarely got a mention. It's because we have a 15% threshold up or down. If you're under that in either direction, we don't mention you. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. A Bath up 100%. 22 vehicles registered instead of 11. Alpine up 242%. BYD up 107%. That's 6,603 vehicles registered. Citroën up 57%. DS up 323% with a whopping 55 vehicles registered. Fiat up 50%. JQ up 187%. Leapmotor up 547%. Lotus up 71%. That's like the olden days. Maserati up 28%, MG up 28%, Omoda up 82%, Porsche up 19%, Renault up 51%, Smart 99%, Toyota 17%, Vauxhall 19%, and Xpeng wins the not sponsored MG award for ridiculous percentage increases of 1,983%, with a total of 163 vehicles registered instead of 8.
Yep. Congratulations to them.
There endeth the lesson. As I say, mostly single figure percentages up or down for anyone we haven't mentioned.
Yeah. Just to run through Mike Hawes' statement as he gives every month, he said that July's record EV performance is a great achievement reflecting the industry's huge investment in zero-emission mobility, But that progress cannot be sustained if manufacturers continue hemorrhaging billions in EV discounts, distorting demand to avoid even steeper penalties. The sector's commitment to decarbonisation is not in doubt, but its ability to remain viable and attract investment for an EV future is under pressure. A sustainable transition will not happen merely by compelling supply when underlying demand is not keeping pace. Despite year-on-year growth, we need urgent reform of the regulation, else Britain risks undermining its competitiveness and the jobs and livelihoods that depend on its industry. Now, I've seen quite a bit of pushback on that, particularly on the likes of LinkedIn, particularly from people who are linked to or directly involved in the other elements of the industry that are trying to bring around the zero emission change. So that's like charging companies, that's people who speak on behalf of charging companies, people who have decided to throw their whole weight behind EVs are the only option and that's it. Those sorts of people. And it's understandable that they are worried. I'm not knocking that you shouldn't be worried, that they are worried that the pace slows, because we have seen previously that the pace of charger expansion across the UK has slowed. And one of the blames was put at the fact that there is the EVED and there is talk about a review into the zero emission vehicle mandate. Whether that's actually true or whether that's just because that's the nature of the beast, I don't know enough about the details. I've got opinions, but I don't know enough. We have to bear this in mind. It's what we've said for the last few months now. This is a very difficult tightrope for the government to walk. How do you continue to get people to buy or register zero-emission vehicles, get the investment from industry to the other side of things that needs to happen for people to feel confident to buy a zero-emission vehicle, but still make it realistic to what reality is?
Right. There's a couple of things in there. What I heard from the statement was a bit of a rap on the knuckles for the manufacturers and the importers going, you're forcing a demand, you're skewing this by subsidizing the socks off it.
But they've been saying that for months and for years, for well over 18 months. Mike Hawes has been...
They have, but just, can you let me finish?
Sorry, I was just going to say Mike Hawes has been saying this.
He has been, and he's been doing it regularly, and I think he's right to say it. Because there seems to be this expectation amongst the chattering classes on LinkedIn and elsewhere that there is going to be constant growth and growth will be linear.
Oh, yeah.
And there is no way growth is going to be linear. We see it every time we read out the spreadsheet. We have the joking, not sponsored by MG, ridiculous growth percentages because they always used to be 800, 700, which is easy when you've got sort of all them, a year before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing and growing and growing. And we're seeing that with many of the new Chinese brands now. And that's starting to drop off. Already, that is starting to drop off. And it's always the newest that get that. And you can't expect that constant rate of growth. It is just completely unrealistic. It shows a fundamental lack of understanding of how markets work when something is new and shiny and everyone wants it and see.
Well, we've seen that, haven't we?
Yeah, of course we have. Yes, absolutely. And I just don't think that all these noisy sods that don't have proper jobs can expect that to be the case. It's the same with the number of chargers.
Mm.
It's the same with the charger. So there's a drop-off. Do you know why that is? It's because most of the stuff's already there. There's a lot of stuff there. It's becoming harder and harder to find the sites that are viable. There has been a significant, and we saw it the other week, there has been a massive, massive increase in the number of chargers, the availability of chargers in the UK over the last decade. That surge, and we were there right at the start where it was going up.
And we know as well, through talking to companies like GridServe, for example, and others, that it's harder and harder to get into places because of the backlog of network connectivity and other elements that all go into this. So this whole idea of just buy an electric car, which has been spouted by many for many years, there are knock-on effects that they never think about or have even contemplated might be an issue. and they are actually impacting. So those of us who were saying, hang on, that's great. However, and we're told, oh, you're wrong. That's FUD. You're just anti-EV. Come on. No, we're not anti-EV. But that it's reality. They are ignoring reality.
Look at the other week. If we had an EV, right? Honestly, if you are constantly charging at the kind of rates that we were charging, which you I hope wouldn't be because you would be sensible and get a subscription to something, then it's not really viable unless you have home charging for your trip.
You can't turn around and go, it's cheaper. Definitely.
It's not 300 miles a day every day.
It is the same.
It's not.
It is, well, actually, it is more expensive because of the
it's more
miles
expensive.
You go on a diesel or a petrol, etc., all that sort of stuff.
It's only the same because I have ridiculous cars, and and those are the ones that I know the real life numbers for.
Yeah. If I'd had the backlog of information you had on my 1.6 diesel Berlingo,
if you were more of a nerd,
then it would have blown what we did in an EV because of how we did it and why we were doing it and all these other things we talked about in the live stream. It would have blown it out the water.
Mm-hmm. I think that some of these people who are jumping up and down and screaming are being very silly and showing their lack of understanding of the world. I think Mike Hawes has a point.
Well, once again, they are thinking their lived experience is everyone's lived experience. That is a big problem that we have in automotive at the moment, I feel.
Oh, yeah, and that's not just for electrics, but yes.
No. Sorry, we went off on a bit of a tangent there because it's something that's been getting under our skin for a little while. Anyway, I am going to move us on now, and I'm going to take us to America. And Rivian has announced their Q2 financial results, and they have managed to increase their revenue and reduce their losses if you compare them year on year. Their revenue increased by 27% in the second quarter, and their net loss reduced by 25%. However, if you actually look at the figures, and if you compare them to last year, there is the addition that Volkswagen is now they've got to be more than a strategic partner. What would we call them?
No, they're the largest stakeholder. They've got 15.9%
so the largest stakeholder, but
stake in
part of what they are doing.
Shareholder, not even.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the shareholder, because part of what they're doing is they have this agreed timeline of investing extra money into Rivian to help with software, with America, with what they're trying to do out there in terms of electric, which now is going to slightly tweak from electric because of the current regime's attitude to electrics, thanks to the dealer network. But Volkswagen managed to put in $800 million into Rivian. And if you took that $800 million out, so if they weren't invested in anything, they would have actually lost more than they had lost the year before. So whilst it looks good on paper, there are caveats to this, and it feels such a shame because Rivian look like they've got a really good set of products. They look like they're approaching, but I'm ignoring the autonomous vehicle side of things because that just seemed like it was what every company's got to say they're doing autonomous now to drum up the investment. Ignoring that side of things, but they looked like they were approaching things quite well. They had realized that Amazon weren't going to buy the volume that they said they were initially, so they had to look elsewhere. They've got what looks like decent products for consumers, but it's the problem with all startup EVs.
The thing is, there's so much investment at this stage because they are ramping up and they're increasing their product range to introduce more affordable, more mass market sizes of vehicle and stuff, and that's tricky. I mean, the cool thing is, it's for the full year they have actually raised their delivery forecast from 62,000 to 67,000 vehicles up to between 65,000 and 70,000 vehicles. Again, that's good news. The worry is that it's Volkswagen who's the investor. That seems to me to be one of the major challenges because Volkswagen is under so much financial pressure in Germany. And remember, Volkswagen, major shareholders of Volkswagen are actual German states, that there is always the worry. They'll say, well, look, you stop investing over there. Don't invest in that stuff. Invest here. Don't close these factories when they're talking about potentially closing 4 factories in Germany.
there's several $billion worth of investment due. And at a time when you're, as Alan just says, is you're going to shut factories in Germany, they're going to go, hang on, why are you sending this money to America? What are we supposed to do? That's an easy one for a politician to win when he stands up there and thumps on a podium or something and makes a rousing speech. That's very difficult to defend if you're a company based in Germany saying, no, we're not giving our German workers money. We're going to send it to America.
The challenge is I actually really believe in what Rivian's trying to do. And for starters, if there's no other reason to like Rivian, it's the fact that they are based in Normal, Illinois. That is the name of the town is Normal, which is quite fantastic. But yeah, I really like what Rivian is doing. I like the way Rivian is trying to go about it. And I just really hope that they don't get the rug pulled any further out from underneath them by either politicians by politicians, no matter where in the world they are.
Yeah.
Whether North America or in Europe.
Yeah, but I do worry for them. I really do. Anyway, Alan, do you want to take us back to Blighty and fill out the missing pieces in the JLR new senior management jigsaw?
Well, it's partly back to Blighty and it's partly off to China. JLR has appointed a dedicated discovery boss for the first time. That makes it sound like look, we've found a boss. Here we are, we've found the new products. All of these kind of things. It actually means that they are in charge of the Discovery brand, sub-brand. They're a house of brands, but then there's brand group. So it's a sub... I don't care. It just angers me, actually. Happy days. Adam Constable is going to take over the helm of the Discovery brand from the 1st of September. He was previously the Global Strategy Director for Range Rover. He'll also have a secondary post as the Managing Director of Freelander, the new electrified SUV brand, because need more of them, created by with the Chinese firm Chery, with JLR's backing. This is all part of the leadership shake-up at JLR, which also includes the appointment of a new UK MD, a new Defender MD, and its first North America CEO, which seems very weird that they haven't had that before. Range Rover, Defender, Jaguar, Discovery, I don't know, both this House of Brands stuff. I don't know quite what we're meant to understand by that. Everybody's just going to say it's a Land Rover, because that's what we all say anyway.
Right, now I'm going to take us on to BMW and their latest misadventure with software and over-the-air updates. Oh dear.
Act of gross stupidity, I think, is what you mean.
Yes, that's basically the shortcut for what we're saying. Last week, or the week before, BMW, after promising only a few years ago that they would never, ever, ever do this because the car was a quote, private place, end quote, they stuck an ad inside some of their cars that could manage it. And this was an advert for the Spider-Man film. This was reacted to in a manner that I think everyone who listens to the Motoring podcast would expect, which was with a calm, measured approach and not furious anger at someone else deciding to throw an advert in our face at all in any just because they could. Oh no, it wasn't that.
The thing is, any of us who are grown-ups will remember when Apple kindly gave us a U2 album.
Yes.
For free. If you have iTunes, you can have here's a U2 album. It's a gift from us to you. And everyone went mad. And that wasn't even an advert. That was just saying,
that was a gift.
Here is the album. It was literally a gift. And the world went nuts.
Quite rightly, by the way, in my opinion, because why we got angry was somebody fiddled with our stuff without us giving permission.
Yeah, it was the whole bit. It was because there wasn't an accept this thing or decline this thing. And this is an example of the same thing. Yeah, sure, it's kind of cool. Look, my car will show something cool animations on the screen. And I think that's what we were meant to be impressed by. But no, it's an advert.
Yeah.
And the thing is that anyone who remembers the Apple U2 iTunes thing should have known what the reaction was going to be in this day and age. But I can only assume it's some form of arrogance on behalf of the marketing department. So went, no, it'll be fine. They did it wrongly. We will do it correctly. Well, turns out they did it wrongly too. And you think, what were you thinking, you fools? It's obvious there was going to be such a negative reaction. I don't understand how you could think there would be anything else.
I don't think you even need to go back as far as the free album. I mean, just go back to how people reacted to heated seats.
Oh, subscription for heated seats. No, but I understand that because you've got the hardware there.
Yeah.
It's already fitted. But any of the subscription.
Right. Okay. We talked about this. When was it? Not so long ago.
God, 9 years ago.
Yeah. When we were talking about
that, 11 years ago.
Last week, when we were talking about the and finally about the i8, and we had a brief presentation on that BMW Drive, BMW Mini Drive Day, and they were gloating about their connected car services. And this ties into the Looking Out, the podcast episode that we mentioned as well last week.
Go listen.
Where Joe and Drew were asking each other, are car companies have they forgotten what they're supposed to provide? Now, I'd say it's even worse than that. I think they feel so arrogant that they should be the ones providing stuff that you and I have spent nearly 11 years going, yeah, but I've got a phone. Yeah, but I've got a phone. Yeah, but any digital thing that, pretty much any digital thing that comes out, you go, but why? But why? I've got a phone, or my passenger's got a phone. They don't need a screen. They've got a phone or an iPad.
But it's because these so many companies now don't understand what it is that they're meant to be providing, and not what they feel they should be providing, but what people actually want from them. And a lot of it goes back to, come on, at least once a year, some Californian tech company invents the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Or do you remember City Mapper? The train. City Mapper, British.
Yeah.
A British company. They invented the night bus. It's like, well done. Well done. Jolly good. And that was a few years ago. But at least once a year in between, there's a bus or now, as you said, train. Seems to be invented by tech bros.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a clue. And because the world is being run by these people who only have a very small scope of life and of idea.
And think they are so right.
And they always think they're right. They've never been sort of critiqued on stuff because that's not the way management works these days. Then for some reason, sycophantic, head-nodding prats give them their buy and they go, yes, very good idea, yes, very good. And so they then propose these things, and everyone goes, it's a bus. And it's the same kind of thing happening here. Yes, we're a mobility solutions provider. It's a car, okay?
Yeah.
You get in it, you turn it on, you drive to your destination. And by the way, if it flies, it's not a car.
Yeah, but I think it's equally, without going too deep into this now, but I think some of the consultancy companies are massively to be blamed at this. But on, for the likes of McKinsey telling GM they're going to earn $30 billion a year by 2030 just through subscription services alone. Farce, absolutely laughable. But GM still seem to think they're going to do it, and every 6 months they're putting off removing iPlay, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, because they know if they do that, they lose customers. But equally on top of that is you've got this management level that, or you've got a lot of people involved in car companies that don't drive. They don't drive, they don't understand, they're not the end user, so they don't get it. Whereas if we go back into the 70s and 80s, these people were the end users, so they were going, no, we talked about Volkswagen and what a proud heritage of engineers they had who knew the little details, and then once they were gone or they moved to EVs, the little details disappeared because people... it needed to be written in a manual for people to go, oh, by the way, don't put stuff without a backlight to it if it's a switch that needs to be used at night. Things like that.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that's actually been lost by digital prototyping, is, of course, that people never see for real until it's too late.
Yeah.
But people used to get promoted via the Peter principle, where you were good at your job, so you kept moving up the company. Nowadays, it's and I'm going to point over there because the book is just about there under that blurry bit, it's the Dilbert principle. People keep getting, the incompetent people keep getting promoted because it gets them out of the way of the competent people.
Yeah.
It means they can get on with their job. And, I quote that, and I know it's Scott Adams, but it was before he went nuts.
Yes.
But it's so true. And it is, by the way, if you can find a copy, maybe get it from your library or something, it is a book well worth reading. It's actually the Dilbert Principle.
Absolutely.
There's a view on all these things. But what do I know?
Right, Alan, we have waffled.
We have terribly. Well,
what do we know about working in real life? Anyway, we have waffled, like you say, terribly for the first part of the show. Do you want to round us out with the "It is up in your own dear homeland"?
Well, yes. Well, it's kind of halfway between us, to be honest. There is a mystery Avenger, and that's different from a Hillman Avenger. A story in the Wall Street Journal. The link, it was a free read, but it doesn't seem to be anymore, but it's worth mentioning, is on a war, basically, in the town of North Berwick. So North Berwick is on the east coast of Scotland, right on the border with England, and it's a very pretty little town. It has a harbour, it has some sandy beaches nearby, there are golf courses, there's fishing, there's all sorts of stuff. It's lovely.
Prime touristy land.
It really but it's
but I'm serious.
Tourist land. It's not it's not Blackpool, okay?
No, I know.
The trouble is that what North Berwick, the council there, when they did, they went and they had what's the word? I've now forgotten the word. Yes, they had a consultation about parking, and they had a consultation about parking in all the shop, asking shop owners and everything who gave an opinion. Those opinions were completely and utterly ignored. As a result, North Berwick introduced a complex parking system of a variety of different tariffs depending on how far you are from the town centre, and all sorts of bits and pieces like that. And some things are for 1 hour, and other areas are for 3 hours, and others are for 6 hours, and all these kind of things. And it's very complicated. And the fines are quite steep. They're pretty spicy. They're 100 quid, essentially, for a parking infraction. It may be less if you pay early, within 2 weeks, and don't argue about it, but they are pretty spicy parking fines.
Oh, on that front, by the way, I did see that during the Fringe, there was a show that was talking about parking enforcement or something. They had it was like a play about parking enforcement and all this sort of stuff. And they said anyone who'd received a fine in North Berwick could attend the show for free. Which I thought was brilliant marketing. Brilliant marketing. It was all over the Scottish press at the time. I thought, because I tried to find another article we could link to that had this in, but I've not been successful.
However, it's rather difficult to pay for your parking in North Berwick these days, because the machines tend to be having quite a lot of sort of interfaces with spray foam and super glue, and nobody is grassing up whoever is doing it, even if they potentially know. It's just a little story really about that we see all these consultations and we see them all being ignored. And that sometimes when they happen at a local level, then people are going out of their way to show the displeasure of the community when things are being imposed upon them. Not that we're saying that you, of course, should.
No. We do not advocate vandalism in any way or defacing public property in any way. However,
it's also quite annoying when people ignore you.
Those in power need to remember that they are there to serve us, not the other way around.
Yes. Yeah, if you can find a gift version, there was originally of this Wall Street Journal article from August the 6th, then do, because it's well worth a read, actually. It's really interesting. It would be a lunchtime read if it were longer.
Yeah. Eventually we are at, which will be a lot shorter in the edited version, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yes, it will be. We can start by taking out the Alan Waffles to cover the crap section, which is a new one. Let's not have that too often, please.
No, I didn't like that section either.
Yes, it's Guilt Minute, the quick break in the show where we ask for a tad of financial support to keep the lights on and the hosting running. If you feel the Motoring Podcast is worth a small consideration every month, then you can become a patron. Different levels of patron include different levels of commitment from us to you, including being able to watch the show recorded live. And if you're doing that tonight, you're really sticking with it. We also have a small range of merchandise in our spring store, from stickers to mugs and T-shirts. If you don't have any spare cash, and we do completely understand, then you can help us by following for free from a podcast player to receive every show as they're released, and by liking and rating the show whatever way your podcast supplier lets you. If you've done all of that, and many of you do, so thank you very much, then the last thing you can do is to recommend us to your friends or colleagues.
Thank you, everyone that does. It's very much appreciated. And I'm going to take us straight away to try and reclaim some time back onto new car news, and we're going to talk about the updated Renault Megane. Renault have in the process of rolling out new technology across their range in terms of battery as well as everything else. And now the new Megane will have 310 miles of range because it's got a bigger battery.
Yeah, that's loads.
Yeah, well, as we've proved recently. And well, the Megane's an SUV now, and I was commenting before the show, I think this would look cracking with about a foot of metal out the side. I mean, it's a really nice design. This must be one of the last ones before the chap went back to Stellantis.
Quite possibly, yes.
It's a cracking colour as well in the Autocar article linked in the show notes. It's going to have 67 kilowatt hour battery, so that's 310 miles from 285, although 285 is cracking. I would suggest having done the trip we've just done. And on top of that, it's going to weigh in at 1,772 kilograms, which is a little bit heavier than it was before, but that's still not bad in the modern era, particularly for a battery electric vehicle, to get in under 2 tons.
Mm-hmm.
I am impressed with that. And there's a 217 brake horsepower motor. It's going to have a boot of 440 litres. You can charge up to 165 kilowatt, which is up from 130. And that means that the 15 to 80% will be 24 minutes on a charger that can do that, and the environmental conditions allow it. And there's going to be a heat pump and battery and interior precondition will be standard now. These are big things which make EV ownership so much easier, so much better.
Super, super useful on our temperate little island.
Absolutely. Downsides, they're going to be sticking in Gemini AI assistance, so you have to be comfortable that it's got Google's architecture behind things. The prices are going to start off at $31,295. That includes the £1,500 electric car grant. Sorry, that's the current car. Apologies. Renault reckons they're going to get the full $3,750, which should mean that it brings it in just under £30,000 and put it closer to the Renault 4 and 5, which then makes it much more attractive. If you can get under 30 grand for over 300 miles, I think you've cracked every mental block that you've got. Not quite, because it also looks good and it's from a brand that you recognize. Mm. And you might believe will be around for a little while. Yeah, so it's hard to find much to dislike in this. I mean, that side profile does look pretty chunky in the below the glass house, and 4 inches out of that, and it would be a great looking thing. But honestly, if you are looking for C-segment electric, blooming heck, this sounds hard to argue against. It looks so nice, inside and out. Certainly trying it, at least. Minimum of trying it. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, talking of products that might tempt people, Alan, do you want to take us on to the next car? Well, yes. The headlines all say that BYD is going after the Defender with this new Ti7. I think it looks far more like a Hyundai Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. It's a £48,000, 402 brake horsepower hybrid SUV, and it will be BYD's flagship in the UK. It is between the sizes of a Defender 110 and 130, which I guess is why everybody keeps saying that it's a competitor. But it is cheaper. It's also cheaper than the petrol engine Mercedes-Benz GLC and the BMW X3. It uses BYD's new performance-focused DMP, as opposed to DMI, plug-in hybrid powertrain. And that comes from and this sounds, to me, this feels ridiculous for a vehicle that size, turbocharged 1.5-litre petrol engine. 2 electric motors, 1 for each axle, and a 35.6 kilowatt-hour
lithium iron phosphate battery pack. All of that, 1.5 litre petrol engine notwithstanding, gives you that 402 brake horsepower combined, 0 to 62 speed of 4.8 seconds, and an electric-only range of 74 miles. I mean, that's ridiculously quick in a almost dangerously, given you're basically moving a small bungalow at that speed.
Yeah, make it 8 seconds and give, and eke out more range efficiency, please. And I'm happy as Larry. But I didn't realize quite how big it was, but that's a lot of impressive tech or specification. Not
only that, but the hybrid part of it is compatible with BYD's flash chargers.
Oh, wow.
Which can deliver up to 1,500 kilowatts. And of course, they're currently building about 300 of those chargers across the UK this year. People, it seems, Autocar, have been asking why it's being sold as a BYD and not as a Denza, which is their performance and fancier sounding brand. And they're saying it's because it was conceived as an off-roader, or the BAO 5 was conceived as an off-roader, when this isn't necessarily conceived as an off-roader. It's very much more, despite the Defender that everybody's comparing it to and that it looks quite like, then I'd say it's far more of a competitor for the Santa Fe, which it also looks quite like.
But interesting, now I've seen it in the article that it says the Toyota Land Cruiser as well. I can see echoes of that in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good-looking car for that market. That it's a great-looking car for that market, and those technical specifications, like I say, for 48 grand, starting from 48 grand. That's a lot of car. Usual caveats apply to anyone who listens to the show when it comes to double-check your warranties, all the Chinese vehicle stuff. Check your warranties, check what's covered, be confident they're going to be about.
Check they're going to be around in 3 years' time.
Yeah, and they've got a dealer network that you can access easily that isn't about to disappear. Not that we always know when that's going to happen. #Skywell.
Yeah. Customer deliveries begin in January. I'll be interested to see how quickly they appear around here. It sounds quite a Perthshire car. There's a BYD dealership in town. BYD is a proper clock showroom just beside the Mercedes-Benz showroom, which seems far more...
Oh, that's going to be interesting. People who are going to the Mercedes who then suddenly go to the BYD.
It goes Mercedes, Smart, Cheery, and then are in one building, and then Cheery and BYD are in the next.
Oh, that will be interesting to watch if that happens.
Yeah. And across the road is Arnold Clark, and it's all Stellantis and Leapmotor.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fascinating to sit there with a camera just watching people's reactions. Anyway, that's a different special edition where we get arrested. Let's move on to the final car of New Car News. And Donkervort is bringing, well, it says in this Autocar article, the Lotus 7 spin-off. Well, that's stretching it, I feel, somewhat.
In the past, they built Lotus 7 spin-offs, and this is not a Lotus 7.
Yes, but the P24 RS is not Lotus 20.
No.
Lotus 7 spin-off. It is their latest, it's basically a supercar that you can take the roof out of. It's mad as a box of frogs. It's even gotten just shy of 300-litre boot, which is mad, actually. This thing looks nuts. I love the rear wings over the rear lights instead of a full spoiler over the back. But they say they're going to bring this out in a right-hand drive, which, brilliant, great. Don't go up towards any sleeping policemen, because I struggle to see how you're going to get over them if you look at some of the photos in this article. And it says that the dry weight is 750 kilograms, and it's got a 3.5 litre V6 in it. Yeah, 592 brake horsepower. That, yeah, okay.
I drove the little baby Caterham recently, one with 300 brake horsepower per tonne and the 660cc engine, and I felt that was more than ample to enjoy yourself on the public road.
Yeah.
I look at this and I think, well, this has many of the compromises of the Caterham. In fact, it possibly has more compromises than the Caterham in some ways, although probably better weather protection. And I do just, and also 10 times the price. But I do just wonder where you could take it on long driving tours, I guess, because you've got a 302 litre boot. But
that matches in with the £302,000 it's going to cost.
Well, that's what I said. It's 10 times the price of the Caterham. It's very cool. I sound like I'm being negative. I'm not really being negative.
It's mad as a box of frogs.
I just don't think I get it. That's all. I think that's my problem with this, is I don't think I get it. I think if it had more bodywork...
Well, you couldn't possibly want more front end.
TVR shaped.
The front end from the cabin is immense. It's almost like it's what was that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that had Sean Connery and Captain Nemo, and they had that ridiculous car. It's almost akin to that.
That car is at the it's in Florida anyway, and I've seen it in the museum it's in. It's the museum that bought all of the stuff from the Cars of the Stars Museum in Keswick.
Oh, okay, right. But as ever with this car, just to round this out, I love the fact that somebody's doing it. I love the fact that they are going to offer it in right-hand drive. And I hope enough people in this country who can afford such a thing and want such a thing do buy it and enjoy it, because we need more interesting and exciting things.
Sorry. My trouble is it looks too fancy and expensive to use on the track, but it looks too compromised to use on the road. That's why I don't really understand where it fits. My apologies. I don't want to sound like I'm being super negative, but for example, I'd rather have an aerial atom, because I know that they use the aerial atom on the track.
Okay.
Without bridging
it. Yep. Understand. Anyway, do you want to take us on to what has been a quiet segment for quite some time? The designer's mood board.
Matt Weaver, who has played a key role in shaping the Nissan Qashqai and Juke, those are the current generations, not the original ones, which were refreshing and new, has been promoted to lead the Japanese brand's design globally. He is currently Nissan's senior design effect director, but he will replace Alfonso Albaiza, who will step down the 1st of October before retiring on the 31st of December. And they will work together during the interregnum era to smooth the succession from one to the other. Hopefully the succession will be smoother than some of the current Nissans out there with their low polygon count bodywork that seems to be coming. Good luck. I think being anything senior at Nissan is a bold move at the moment, and there's certainly plenty of work to be done. Go for it. Good luck, Mr. Weaver.
Right, I'm taking us into points of interest. And as we approach yet another heat wave, as long as you're not in certain parts of the country, don't mention snow, Alan, then we're going to bring the final two parts of Vamos a la Playa, and that's parts 7 and 8. So the long-running summer saga is pulling to a close of beach cars. And part 7 is about Japanese beach cars. And part 8, I think, is about Eastern European, I want to say Czechoslovakian, because there is a Skoda in here somewhere as well in part 8. Again, wonderful takes on the same principle of how can we have some fun little low-powered thing that takes us to the beach in a chilled-out, relaxed manner.
Yeah, this last part is a sort of roundup of other randoms that don't really fit in any other category, because you've got the Aero Spartana, which was what was originally sold as a Dacia Duster. Here, the soft-top version of that.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
You've got the Apple Rancho, which is, I think it's Uruguayan. You've got another one there, which is from Turkey. And going down at the bottom, you've got the Havas Beachcomber, which is based on a DAF. So yes, all sorts of little one of some final oddities at the end.
The Japanese ones are amazing as well, obviously, in there too. So do enjoy those. Like I say, just rounds out the full... We like completeness on the show. And now that is the completeness, unless they find some more from somewhere, which I don't think they will
can't be any more. They can't be.
There's not that many beaches left.
No, it's been a great series though, and it has been really interesting.
It's just been fun, hasn't it? It's just been fun to remind ourselves of, look, you can do something just for one particular job that's, it's just, there's no seriousness in it, really, apart from, you need to make money from it, but it's not meant to be a serious thing that goes on to be bigger than the sum of its parts and all that. So, yeah, absolutely love that.
That brings us to the list of the week this week, which comes from Autocar. And it is titled The Best Cars from Companies That No Longer Exist. We take a journey into the finest models made by famous car companies that no longer exist. In my finest Pathé News voice. There are many here, so we've got one each. But Andrew, which would you have?
I will ask the ladies and gentlemen, and this was not an easy choice by any stretch of the imagination, but I would ask the ladies and gentlemen to move to slide 43, which is the Saab 99 from 1968.
Okay, mine's not showing slides.
Delightful brown, and the wheels that are on the photographed car are amazing as well. I've got such a soft spot for Saab, obviously, having owned one for quite a while before it gave up the ghost.
Oh, yes. There's the Inca alloy wheels. That's what they're called.
Just awesome thing. And how about you, Alan? Which?
Well, do you know what? I hadn't scrolled this far because mine is displaying in a very strange manner.
Oh, no.
Tonight, and is showing me as a vertical list. Let's have... Oh, there's so many. Let's have the NSU RO80 from 1967. Yes, it's well known as the source of the aerodynamic car that launched 10,000 warranty claims. Yeah, it's the rotary engine pretty much killed NSU as it got merged into Audi after this.
That's the RO80, yeah?
Yes, the RO80.
So that's slide 34 for ladies and gentlemen whose browser is actually working for them. And there isn't the technical gremlins that we seem to be beset with this evening. No, that's great. I love that. It's such a fabulous choice of shape, and you can see the Audiness, or how Audi took certain aspects of that shape.
Yeah, into the subsequent 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's such a... Sorry, as in the model, not the decade. But yes, I mean, it really is still quite a futuristic silhouette, although the detailing has, of course, dated it. But yes, I've always liked to look at these. These are really quite smart.
Yep. Right. Anyway, that means it is time for and finally, we're going to classic and sports cars, and we're going to go to motoring art, but slightly different motoring art than what we normally do. Normally, it's somebody's paintings or drawings along those lines. However, this time it is Ramon Cubrio, who has a team of people that work at Velisor, and what they do is they create bespoke slot cars, so scale-electric type stuff, and they aim at very early miniature vintage racing cars. So it's 1 in 32 scale, and they create these stunningly put together race cars that are from an era. If you remember if you look at any of the historic racing, it's the stuff that's in the 1910s, the 1920s, and it's very much the early years of formula racing, where people are trying to work out things like, what's aerodynamics? How much engine can we get up front to get how many litres do we need to make how many brake horsepowers and all the rest of it? So there's some gorgeous cars from that period, and there's very different takes on this, trying to solve the same problem. Whereas we look today in racing, generally, cars are very similar shaped to fix the same problem. These are absolutely wonderful things. There's a link also in this Classic and Sports Cars article to the website where you can see more of these vehicles that are out there that are being made. But the skill level, the imagination, the attention to detail, and the execution are absolutely stunning. I keep saying this every time there's any of the artwork. I love seeing how artistic and how well somebody executes on an idea they've got if they're successful with it. And this is a brilliant example of that. And, the fact that this is being depicted in the pictures in some setups that have the slot cars going, but also there is landscape around it, just make it even more evocative. So do click the link in the show notes, do have a look, and just sit there and go, wow.
I love that they're slot cars. So it's moving sculptures.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really great. And by the way, the little dioramas that people have made with the sort of custom cut, slot in the wood, copper tracks down both sides are really lovely as well. Just really nice.
Yeah.
Really good one. I like that a lot. Anything else we need to tell the people about, Andrew, other than, hey, you got a special edition last Friday, go listen to it, unless, of course, you were on the live stream, or, of course, you can, if you listen to the live stream, you can compare and contrast the live stream version with the audio version. The original live stream, unedited, is also still up on still up on YouTube for your viewing delectation. I would listen to the edited audio one, to be perfectly honest. Far for your I'm sure.
No, I just processed the audio. I didn't.
Oh, so it was Alan style then. Okay, cool. Alan style editing rather than Andrew style editing.
Unlike what's going to happen to this tomorrow.
I know.
For many hours.
Anyway, don't forget that between now and next week, you can give us any feedback and share your thoughts for the show at motoringpodcast.com on Blue Sky, at Motoring Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and on the contact page of www.motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon, and please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or whatever your podcast app lets you do such a thing. Andrew, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is if you search for Cracked Windscreen on Blue Sky, or if you look on LinkedIn. And Alan, if people would like to get in touch with you personally, what's the best way for them to do that?
At Blue Sky is probably best for me, where I'm at AJP Bradley, that's BRADLEY.bsky.social. You can also find me on LinkedIn, grumbling about people on LinkedIn sounding like they're AI. We'll be back very soon, but until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.